Happy birthday to you. Birthday boy.
Birthday boy.
Where's your rosette?
Left it at home.
Why is that?
Embarrassing.
So happy birthday, mate.
Thank you very much.
What's it like being exactly half my age?
Not sure.
All right for you, not so all right for me. Not mental age though, is it?
No.
You're sort of twice as old as me at mental age, I reckon.
Brilliant.
Babysitting your boss on a daily basis. Didn't decide to have the day off then?
Nah, don't really bother with the old.
It's a treat being here, isn't it, really? It's a birthday present.
I mean,
Happy birthday, another day at work.
Ideal. Going out for dinner, so it's fine,
Lovely.
isn't it?
Gone and done the brekkie, mate, haven't we?
Yeah, we've had a breakfast.
Gone straight to the eyelids. Could do with a couple of hours in the chair.
Yeah.
Well, mate, we've got a lot to go on about today.
We do.
I feel, but I'm not going to be able to go on about it all, so that's going to be some content for Fridays, I feel.
Perfect.
Which is good, mate. No content drought.
Yeah.
First of all, this little setup. So we were running, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we were running, the phone was a bit quieter. Running a bit thin on the old engines.
I did see some comments. People had noticed
Really?
that we've gone a bit quiet. But
A bit quiet, mate. Usually do at this time of year, in fairness.
yeah, I think it's more of a other people's money kind of thing. They worry about spending however many £1,000 on an engine build.
Or maybe something to do with the budget.
Well, that as well.
Isn't it, mate?
But it's coming up to Christmas as well as that.
Coming up to Christmas, usually go a bit quieter. But not only that, like we said, I do think that it's a lot to do with the fact that we're more...
Well, we've got a better system.
We've got a better system, don't we?
Get things done quicker.
More productive.
Yeah.
We turn stuff over quicker.
We definitely do.
So whereas in previous years we wouldn't have sort of caught up and we would look busier, actually on paper and turnover a bit better. But it has livened right up in the last week or so, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Phones been lots of phone calls, motors coming in. We've got a nice job yesterday that's coming in a couple of days, a 4.2 E-Type Jag.
Nice.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we've done a few of them before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, yeah. It's a
Not
nice
for a
motor.
while,
It's
though.
got to look lovely. It's in a nice E-Type, so it's got to look lovely as well as being balanced and new bits. So
Well, that's what we do, so that's all good.
it's got to be done for January. So that's a nice one to get on with for the pair of us. You've been cracking on with the Cosy, but I've had plenty of jobs boring and liner in. We have just finished another Crossflow, haven't we? Which we actually haven't managed to get on video.
Well, it only came in on Monday, didn't it?
Came in Monday, but we had to turn it all round. We didn't build the engine, we just did the machine in and ordered the bits and that. But that was for Scott, a good friend of ours. And this one that came in, it was delivered on a Sunday from a customer who's come down in his camper, stayed here, and before I went on holiday?
Yeah, just the day before, I think.
Delivered it down. So this, I need to get me facts straight here. This is a race engine. I don't know whether any of you will notice or recognise this, but it's a TU Peugeot engine.
There's a PSA there.
It's a 1400, mate. And this is in, I'm sure I wrote it down, this is in a GP Midget. It's a GP Midget engine, and that is a tarmac quarter-mile oval that they do.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's like those, I think they're quite big in America, these little midget sort of cars, where there's like a stock car and they've got those big angled spoiler things on the roof.
Yeah.
Because they only go around in an oval, mostly sideways.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's building a TU. So I think at the moment he's got a 16 valve in there, but he's going back to the 8 valve, mate.
Oh, right.
And the reason for that is it's like a lot of these motorsports, bit of funny rules. And apparently you have to run a pretty much stock 16 valve engine, or you can modify an 8 valve cylinder head, and they seem to be getting more power out the 8 valve, so that's why they've all gone back.
Oh, right.
Bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a 1400. It had gone to another place before, where they did some of the machining, so the cylinder head was ported very nicely. Port matched the manifold there. The liners were bored, albeit not 100% correct for the pistons. Basically, mate, what I've done is I've blasted all the block. This is a wet liner motor, a bit like the Rover K series, that sort of thing.
All the Alphas.
Alphas, they're all the same sort of thing, mate. And what you've got is a separate liner like this. It locates in the base of the block here, and then you run an O-ring on here, and that's what seals the water jacket from the sump, basically, or the crankcase. So that's the only thing that stops the water and oil mixing.
Never been too keen on the idea, but
No, not really.
I get it. It's good for, you know, you can swap out a liner, and there
Yeah.
are obviously big upsides, but
Yeah,
I'd always just be worried, when's that O-ring going to let go?
I know, that's the only trouble. The advantages with this type of motor is the weight, basically. So
Yeah.
the block is very, very light, even with them liners in, it's so light. We've got to go through this, mate, and make sure it's all trick. He's supplied most of his own bits, so we've got PEC rods, Wasner pistons. They come as a matching set. And we've got double valve springs, bigger valves. We have got to do some modifications on the cylinder head. We've got a vernier pulley, so we've got to supply some bits like some crank bearings and go right through it, mate. And it's a proper race motor, this, so it'd be quite interesting for the channel.
Yeah.
Block wise, first thing I've done, mate, obviously blasted it, painted it, give it a thorough clean and blow through, make sure it's all clean, and make sure, first thing you do on a wet liner is make sure that these bases here where the liners sit are in good order, there's no corrosion.
Yeah.
These are in perfect order. I think that Paul Dove does a lot of the Alphas, and I think he has big trouble with them old Alphas, doesn't he?
I bet,
Corroded to hell, and yeah, not very nice.
Shoddy castings and that.
Awful. First thing we've got to do is obviously after it's cleaned, we've got to make sure that the liners are bored correctly. So I am in the process of just honing one out. There's two ways of doing it. You can either use a torque plate, or you can do it the way we're doing it, because they've already been bored, we just hone them out. They're not a tight fit in the bottom. Torque plates are one of those things, aren't they, where it's a little bit like ring gaps. It's a...
Well, we'd say in most situations they're a little bit of a, not a myth, but it's beneficial.
It's
but
beneficial.
The benefit is not as great as a lot of people would think.
No, I have
maybe.
read some stuff where unless the torque plate can completely replicate the cylinder head that's going on, there has been sort of proven that the torque plate does not replicate the head. They've measured it from underneath with a head on after it's been bored with a torque plate, and it's still a lot of the time we don't use them. So what I tend to do, mate, I have eased those three out there. We go over to the Delapina hone. I have one on here. This is a little bit of a Heath Robinson setup, because obviously you ain't got much to clamp on. So I've got the liner sitting in that big block of bronze down there. And then I've got a little jig here using an adapted brake disc. And it's a little bit bigger than the actual hole there, mate. So what I do is just clamp the brake disc like so, and with the other side, just enough to hold it without going absolutely crazy on the amount of meat you're taking out of it.
So you've only got to ease these out about 1,000, is it?
About 1,000, if at the most, on a couple, mate. Yeah, not disastrous. So anyway, mate, we'll just let that one cool. You can see I've done these three. So the next thing to do to finish these liners off sitting in the block is obviously make sure that they're seated down properly, and we've got to measure with a DTI the height of these liners in comparison to the outside of the block.
Right, yeah.
And I want to be running about a 2.5 thou protrusion of the liner compared to the block.
Yeah, so is that so that A, it crushes that liner down into the base of the block, and B, it allows the firing to seal nicely against the top of the liner?
Exactly, mate. You want to make sure, on standard they run them pretty much flush, which is exactly what this was. The block hadn't been faced before, but we run a 2 to 2.5 thou protrusion, just to, like you say, just to make sure that is pushing that down. You don't want to run too much of a protrusion, otherwise you start ending up with leaks around the outside of the block.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I measured them first off. They're absolutely flush with the block face. We make sure that the faces on the liner are in good order. These are the old liners. We don't need to replace the liners because they've obviously been bored. If we were using standard size, then we would renew the liners. Dead flush, so what I've done is I've took 2 thou off the block face.
Yeah.
Re-checked it with the height, with the DTI, mate, and it is 2 to 2.5 thou.
Ideal.
Job done, isn't it? And then I've marked them, so we know when we assemble it and have to disassemble it, we know we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order. Just in case you've got any differences in the liner, if you put that one over here, it may be slightly different.
Yeah.
So If we'd faced the block there just to get a decent finish and it was lower or more than the 2.5 thou protrusion, what we would do then is set these up in the lathe individually and just take some off the top
Yeah.
to get the right one. So it's a bit of a rigmarole, but definitely a necessity.
Yeah.
So that is pretty much the block sort of done there. Got to get a gasket set which comes with the O-rings that go on the base of the liners. Next issue, mate, before we start setting about building up the cylinder head and doing our sort of dummy build, pistons. One difference with these pistons compared to an original is a flat top.
Ah.
Yes.
This one's fairly well domed.
Fairly well domed, but with the cutouts. The reason that is done is because they wanted to get the compression up.
Yep.
So standard, they're about 9.9 to 1 with a standard head at a standard height. But we want to be running about 12.5.
Right.
12 to 12.5. But there is one problem with these pistons, mate, and I knew this before I'd even set about it because I've actually done this before.
Ah, right.
On a 1300 rally engine where the customer supplied these pistons. And that is, we ignore these three, that is a standard combustion chamber on the head. So as I say, standard you'd run a flat top which doesn't encroach in this area. The reason they got this area is because the plug sits a bit higher. It's just to get the compression where they want it.
Right.
But obviously with that there, mate, that piston does not go down. And I discovered this when I did the first engine without even looking at the head. Put the bottom end together and the head wouldn't go on.
Right.
And that's because it fouled on this area of the piston. So what we have to do here, look, there's two we've done earlier. So I've set it up with our boring head and I've bored down here 3.5 mil.
Yep.
And then you can see here on these two, mate, I've finished it by hand. So
you've got to blend it.
You've got to blend it before we obviously do check the volume of these. Once we've put the valves in and that, we've got to blend it all down and make sure that it does clear. So that piston needs to sit about 1 millimetre lower from that outer edge, because these do actually sit a bit lower, probably about 0.5 mil lower than the top of the liner anyway.
Right.
So along with the gasket, if they're a bit like 1 mil down there, you're going to be running 2.5 mil clearance between here and here, which is more than enough. But the main problem with these, as I say, you can't take all this out because you've got the plug which sits higher, and that's why they've got this little dimple here in the crown.
So when you've sort of done all this, you'll then check your CC of the combustion chamber.
Yep. So
and then I suppose you can adjust it to get them to all match as well.
That's right. Yeah. So this has had new valve seat inserts in. Someone's put a 3-angle seat on there, but they've left them proud, so you can feel that's proud.
Oh yeah.
But because we've had to very slightly encroach onto the top of the valve seat, we need to be cutting these valves, and we're going to cut them back anyway.
Yeah.
To get the correct height from behind to fit these new springs. So it's quite technical building up one of these heads, to be honest with you, especially using these. So yeah, we've got to cut these seats once we've blended the other two, get our valves at the correct height, and then CC them up, mate, and see what we've got.
Yeah.
Obviously, to do this crown, because of the design of it, what I'm going to be doing is I've ordered some clay.
Oh, right, yeah.
Some non-hardened clay that stays soft with an oil base.
Like plasticine.
Yeah, it's like a plasticine, basically, with an oil base. And I'm going to imprint the crown of this piston into the plasticine, or the clay, and then we're going to CC that up.
Right.
So that'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Because these are a bit of an unknown, really. Even Wozner can't tell us what they are. Don't help, does it? And when we're looking to run a specific compression ratio, if we were to run this piston crown in this head unmodified, you're looking at about 13.5 to 1, so it'd be way too much.
Yeah.
But we need to be at about 12 for this engine.
Cool.
So there we go, mate.
Yeah.
It's all technical stuff, isn't it? So the V6 Cosworth, we're pretty much there, aren't we?
Yeah, so I think all I've got to do is just torque up that front pulley bolt, and we're golden.
Someone pointed out on the last video that we did about this, about the sump gasket.
What a big mistake we made.
Or could have made.
Temporarily made.
Sort of made. And that was, because we are fitting a 4-wheel drive sump, this is load bearing, isn't it?
Well, yeah. You can't have any sort of play between
Can't have
the
any sort
sump,
of play. Play being
a gasket.
a gasket on there, especially a cork gasket.
So
it's a face-to-face, the same as the four-wheel drive Cosworths that I do,
which
the
is
4 cylinders.
Which is why we're surprised that we missed that, to be fair. Well, I missed that, in fairness, but you know.
We sorted it out, mate.
I think part of the reason is because I was jiggerying about with that windage tray.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, and
But anyway,
things happen.
things happen. Sorted it out, and we run that green
Anaerobic
sealer, which obviously only goes hard where there is no oxygen.
Yep.
So a bit weird this stuff, isn't it? Because you got about a week later and the thing's still wet on the outside. You think doesn't seem
Well,
right.
we've had customers before, and we go, "Are you sure this sealer's all right? It's all wet still."
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's hard where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And the good thing about this stuff, when you've got the same the other side, because it's wet, it gets washed into the oil, and you don't get
It's oil soluble and
oil
I don't know if
soluble.
it's soluble, but it sort of mixes in and it doesn't hurt anything.
No,
so
it doesn't hurt anything, and you
comes
don't
out
get
with an
those
oil
big
change.
blobs of silicon inside the sump,
Yeah.
which can quite easily block up the oil pickup. Not ideal.
I did just have to do another little insert in there
Oh yeah.
because there was another wonky helicoil that I'd missed.
Oh okay.
So I've done another one the same as that one.
There we go, mate. Very nice.
But yeah, it's all done really.
All pretty much done. Lovely job, Lee. Well, guys, unfortunately, that is all we've got time for today. But until another video, you have a lovely evening, guys, and we'll see you on Friday. Take care. Cheers.